Hey everyone, I already discussed entity and relationship. Just go through the previous lecture. Next I will discuss details about attribute. Attribute are the descriptive properties of the entities. Suppose one person is an entity, then its name, its ID, its address, its salary, everything comes under attributes. So for each attribute there are certain domain and value set. For example, course ID can be of certain length. So starting with alphabet followed by some number. For computer science, you can write CS followed by some number, right? Similarly, semester can be either fall, winter, spring, summer. So each entity can be described by the attribute name and its value. So you can pair attribute name and value for each entity. For example, suppose a instructor ID and ID value, then name, creek, department name, biology, salary 72,000. There are different attribute type in ER model. First one is simple and composite attribute. If for one attribute there is a atomic value, it's simple attribute. If it is a composite value, means combination of 2-3 value, then it's composite. So an attribute with single atomic value called as simple attribute. They cannot divide into subpart, for example ID, and an attribute other hand which can divide it into subpart called as composite attribute. Suppose name can be divided into first name, middle name, last name. So the address of a student entity set can be divided as street, city, state, zip code. So composite attribute help us to group together similar type of attribute. Like all these things we can group as a address. And there can be also hierarchy. Like inside one attribute there can be another attribute. Suppose under street there can be street number, street name, apartment number. That street can comes under address. Just see the figure, you can understand. So name can be first name, middle name, last name. Name is a composite attribute. Address can be street, city, state, postal code. Again street can be divided as street number, street name, apartment number. So this street comes under address, that's a hierarchy. So composite attribute may appear as a hierarchy. I think you guys are clear about simple and composite attribute. If it have single atomic value, it's simple attribute. If it is combination of multiple, if it have subpart, then it's composite attribute. Next type of attribute are single valued and multi-valued. If for an attribute there is just one value, it's called as single valued. If for one attribute there can be multiple entries, okay, there can be multiple value. I'm not talking about subpart. Then it's called as multi-valued attribute. So student ID, it's a single valued. For every student there can be single ID. Phone number, there can be multiple phone number for particular entity, for particular instructor or particular student. So phone number is a multi-valued attribute. So there can be 0 or more phone number for any instructor, right? So it's called as multi-valued attribute. Simple and composite. Composite can be divided, simple cannot be divided. Then single valued and multi-valued. Multi-valued means there can be different value. Single means it's just one value, okay? So you can say simple and single valued are similar, whereas composite means it can be subdivided. Multi-value means it can have different value. Next is derived attribute. If one attribute value derived from another attribute, it's called as derived attribute. And from which attribute it derived its value, it's called as store or base attribute. For example, age can be derived from the date of birth attribute. So age is the derived attribute, whereas date of birth is the store attribute. Suppose we don't have the value for particular attribute, we can write null. So an attribute take a null value when its entity doesn't have a value for it. It may be missing or unknown, okay? Suppose one instructor name is null, means it is unknown. But the ID value cannot be null. For every student or for every instructor, there should be ID through which we can identify that particular instructor or student. I'll discuss more about that ID. It's called as primary key. In today's lecture, I discussed attribute, different type of attribute like simple and composite attribute, single valued and multivalued attribute, derived and based attribute. In next lecture, I will discuss constraint. If this lecture is helpful for you, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.